Golf has always been called a game of patience, precision, and discipline, but every once in a while, we witness something that goes far beyond the ordinary. These are the shots that leave fans speechless, commentators lost for words, and even fellow players shaking their heads in disbelief. They're not just strokes of luck, they're strokes of genius. Over the years, the game has given us countless unforgettable moments, but only a select few stand apart as truly legendary displays of creativity, courage, and brilliance under pressure. From miraculous escapes out of impossible lies to jaw-dropping approaches that defy the very laws of physics, today we're counting down the 10 most genius golf shots ever recorded. The shots that prove golf isn't just a sport, it's an art form. Royal Portrush was supposed to be a homecoming celebration for Shane Lowry. The Irishman had etched his name into golf history there 6 years earlier, winning the Open in storybook fashion on home soil. Fans packed the fairways again in 2025, hoping for another chapter of glory. And for a while, Lowry seemed ready to deliver. But golf, with its unforgiving rules and microscopic scrutiny, had other plans. On the 12th hole, Lowry's tee shot found the rough. No problem, he'd been in that spot countless times. He took his stance, made a casual practice swing, and moved on. To him, the ball hadn't budged an inch. But in the age of HD cameras zoomed in from every angle, what the naked eye can't see, technology reveals. Slow-motion replay showed the ball shift ever so slightly during his practice motion. Lowry himself, standing right over it, didn't notice. His caddy didn't see it. His playing partners didn't either. But thousands of viewers at home did. By the 15th hole, a rules official approached him with devastating news. His ball had moved. A 2-stroke penalty. Just like that, his momentum vanished. The swing of 2 strokes was enough to yank him out of contention and push him toward the cutline. For Lowry, it wasn't nerves or poor play that ruined his week. It was the invisible hand of slow-motion technology and the watchful eyes of fans at home, reminding everyone that in golf, even the smallest movements can shatter dreams. Number 9 Paul Azinger's round at the 1991 Doral Ryder Open was nothing short of brilliant. He walked off the 18th green with a sparkling 65, just a single shot off the lead, filled with confidence and momentum. The cameras followed him, the crowd cheered, and Azinger looked set for a weekend charge. But what he didn't know was that his fate had already been sealed, not by his swing, but by a stranger on the other side of the country. In Colorado, a viewer watching Thursday's telecast noticed something peculiar on the 18th hole. While playing a shot from a water hazard, Azinger had nudged a piece of coral with his foot. To the casual fan, it was insignificant. To the rulebook, it was a violation. Removing loose impediments from a hazard was strictly forbidden. That anonymous viewer picked up the phone, called the PGA Tour, and reported what they'd seen. By Friday morning, Azinger's joy turned to shock. Tournament officials escorted him into a CBS trailer and replayed the footage. The evidence was undeniable. He had moved the coral. The result? Because he had already signed his scorecard without including the penalty, Azinger was disqualified. Imagine the emotional whiplash, going from the high of shooting 65 and smelling victory to being erased from the leaderboard because of a phone call from a living room 2,000 miles away. For Azinger, it was a harsh reminder that in golf, perfection can be destroyed by the smallest oversight and an eagle-eyed viewer. Number 8 Padraig Harrington was flying in Abu Dhabi. A 3-time major champion, he shot a sizzling 65 in the opening round, putting himself in prime position to chase another title. Everything seemed to be lining up. But golf is a game where the smallest details can bring the biggest consequences. On the 7th green, Harrington marked his ball, replaced it, and went to pick up his coin marker. As he did, his finger brushed the ball ever so slightly. Harrington felt something, glanced down, and double-checked his alignment using the logo on his ball. Satisfied it hadn't moved, he carried on. His playing partner Martin Kamer saw nothing unusual. Neither did the officials on site. But in someone's living room, high-definition replay told a different story. An anonymous viewer noticed the ball had shifted forward, 3 dimples, then back about half that distance. The movement was so small it was invisible to everyone there. Yet the viewer called it in. Tour officials replayed the clip dozens of times, scrutinizing every frame, until they ruled the ball had indeed moved and hadn't been replaced properly. The penalty was 2 strokes. But because Harrington had already signed his card without recording it, the punishment escalated to disqualification. Just like that, Harrington's brilliant start evaporated. All the momentum, all the promise of a title run gone. One accidental brush of a finger, invisible to the naked eye, had ended his week. It was the perfect example of how golf can turn triumph into heartbreak with the smallest of touches. Number 7. Simon Dyson was living the dream. After 2 solid rounds at the BMW Masters, he sat tied for second place, poised to make a career-defining run. But while Dyson was asleep Saturday morning, his world came crashing down. Tournament officials woke him with devastating news. He had been disqualified. The crime? Something caught on television the day before. On the 8th green, Dyson had marked his ball, cleaned it, and as he replaced it, he casually tapped down what looked like a spike mark directly in his putting line. To most fans, it seemed harmless. To the rulebook, it was a violation of Rule 16-1A. Players were forbidden from touching their line of putt. That tiny gesture cost him 2 strokes, and since he'd already signed his scorecard without the penalty, it meant automatic disqualification. But Dyson's nightmare didn't end there. Investigators discovered he had done it before, and not by accident. The European Tour deemed it serious misconduct, hitting him with a £30,000 fine and a suspended 2-month ban. In a blink, Dyson went from contender to disgraced. What could have been a career-making weekend became a cautionary tale of how small shortcuts can destroy reputations. For Dyson, the tap of a putter was the tap that ended his tournament, his credibility, and very nearly his career. Number 6. For Camilo Viegas, the 2011 Tournament of Champions turned into a nightmare birthday present. On the 15th hole, facing a steep slope, Viegas attempted to chip his ball onto the green. Twice, the ball rolled right back down to his feet. Frustrated, he prepared again, but as the ball was still moving, he casually flicked away some loose grass in front of his divot. To him, it was nothing, just clearing debris. To golf's rules, it was a violation. Fans at home noticed, and by the next day, his 29th birthday, officials hit him with a 2-stroke penalty for breaching Rule 23-1. But because Viegas had already signed his scorecard, the punishment escalated to disqualification. Imagine it, your birthday in Hawaii, competing in a season-opening tournament, and suddenly you're packing your bags early because someone watching from their couch saw what you didn't even think twice about. Viegas's mistake wasn't a blown shot or a meltdown. It was a momentary flick of the club that changed his entire week. For him, paradise quickly turned into punishment, proving once again that in golf, even the smallest gestures carry massive consequences. Number 5 Stacy Lewis was in the hunt at the Founders Cup, playing solid golf and sitting only 2 shots back of the leader. After a clutch birdie putt on 18, she looked ready to strike in the final round. But just as she was celebrating, the rules came crashing down. A caddy in a bar watching the broadcast noticed something odd on the 16th hole. Lewis's caddy, Travis Wilson, had walked into a fairway bunker to check the sand conditions and, while doing so, lightly bounced his foot. To most, it seemed meaningless. To the rulebook, it was testing the conditions of a hazard, illegal under Rule 13-4. The caddy watching on TV phoned it in, and officials reviewed the footage. The evidence was clear. Lewis and Wilson were stunned when pulled into the scoring tent. Instead of being 2 shots behind, she was now 4 back with a 2-stroke penalty. For most, that would have been devastating. But Lewis turned her frustration into fire. On Sunday, she shot a remarkable 64, erasing the deficit, storming to victory, and rising to world number 1. What started as a moment of embarrassment became the spark for her greatest triumph, showing the resilience that defines champions. Number 4 Augusta National. The Masters. Tiger Woods in full flight. On Friday, Tiger looked unstoppable, 5 under par and attacking the course with precision. Then came the 15th hole. From 87 yards, his wedge looked perfect until fate intervened. The ball struck the flagstick and ricocheted into the water. Tiger chose to drop near his original spot rather than the designated drop area. He played on, made bogey, and signed his card. No problem, until David Ager, a respected rules official watching from home, noticed something unusual. Tiger had dropped the ball not as near as possible to his original shot, but 2 yards further back. Tiger himself confirmed it on ESPN, saying he wanted to avoid hitting the flag again. That confession turned Augusta upside down. By Saturday morning, Tiger was summoned like a schoolboy to the principal's office. Instead of disqualification for signing an incorrect scorecard, the committee invoked Rule 33-7, giving him a rare two-stroke penalty. Chaos erupted. Purists called it unfair leniency. Others thought disqualification would have been too harsh. For Tiger, it was another chapter in his complicated history with Augusta. A tournament nearly lost not by a swing, but by the strict letter of the law and the power of television replay. Number 3, Julie Inkster, a Hall of Famer at 50 years old, was having a dream week at the Safeway Classic. She'd shot a brilliant 67 and was only 3 shots off the lead. Then came the 10th tee and a traffic jam. A 30-minute delay left Inkster waiting, trying to stay loose. Like countless pros before her, she reached into her bag, slid a weighted training donut onto her club, and made a few practice swings to keep her tempo. Innocent enough, except the rules said otherwise. Under Rule 14-3, no training aids are allowed during competitive play. Of course, Inkster wasn't thinking about that, but someone watching from home was. The viewer reported it, and officials reviewed the footage. By the time Inkster walked off the 17th green, she was told the news: disqualification. Imagine the frustration, her score, her standing, her entire week erased because of a warm-up routine during a delay. For Inkster, it was a brutal lesson in how golf's rules leave no room for error, even in the strangest circumstances. A Hall of Famer's weekend ruined not by poor play, but by a donut-shaped wait and the ever-watchful eye of the broadcast. Number 2 for Viktor Havland, the 2021 Players' Championship ended not with a missed shot, but with a phone call from his mom. After shooting a respectable 70, Havland was walking back to his car when his phone rang. His mother, watching from Norway, had spotted something he hadn't. On the 15th green, he'd moved his ball marker 1 putter head to the side to avoid Justin Thomas's line. But when replacing it, he mistakenly moved it another putter head length instead of back to its original spot. That meant he putted from the wrong place. Neither Havland nor his caddy realized it. But Mom did, from 4,000 miles away. Havland immediately reported it, and video confirmed the mistake. The penalty: 2 strokes under Rule 14.7. His 70 became a 72, and heartbreakingly, he missed the cut by exactly 2 shots. It was a bizarre story, one of the brightest young stars in golf undone by an error caught not by fans, officials, or TV analysts, but by his own mother. For Havland, it was proof that in golf, even family watching at home can change the course of your tournament. Number 1 Lexi Thompson was on the verge of history. At just 22 years old, she held a 3-shot lead in the final round of the ANA Inspiration, poised to capture her second major. She looked unstoppable until disaster struck. As she walked to the 13th tee, rules official Sue Witters intercepted her with shocking news. During the 3rd round, 24 hours earlier, Lexi had replaced her ball slightly off its original position on a 1-foot putt at the 17th green. Nobody noticed. Not her playing partners, not officials. But someone watching at home did. That viewer emailed the LPGA mid-round on Sunday. Officials reviewed the footage and ruled it a violation. The penalty was crushing: 2 strokes for incorrect placement and 2 more for signing an incorrect scorecard. In the blink of an eye, her 3-shot lead became a 1-shot deficit. The crowd roared in disbelief as Lexi, stunned and emotional, asked, "Is this a joke?" But instead of collapsing, she fought back. She birdied the very next hole, drained a 25-footer, and reclaimed the lead. The galleries exploded in support. She battled all the way to force a playoff, but ultimately lost to So-Yun Ryu. From certain victory to devastating heartbreak, all because of a viewer email sent 24 hours later. Lexi's loss wasn't just tragic. It was the single dumbest rules controversy in golf history, and the number 1 reason this countdown exists. And there you have it, 10 of the most genius shots the game of golf has ever seen. Each one a reminder that no matter how much you think you've seen it all, golf always finds a way to surprise you. These weren't just great shots, they were defining moments that elevated careers, inspired generations, and etched themselves into the fabric of golf history. From impossible flops to miracle putts, these players showed us that brilliance can strike at any time, in any situation. That's the beauty of this game. One swing can change everything. If you loved reliving these moments, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more golf stories, and join us next time as we uncover even more legendary chapters from the world of golf.